various reasons, and those need to be addressed as well. We had a smoke alarm go off Friday night at 2:30 in the morning, and the fire department showed up, and I rolled out of bed and got to the ballpark, and I was there with them to figure out why, what, who, where, when, and it ended up being a false alarm, but that's the reality of facility management and really working in sports. It's just transferable to what your job requirements are that's going to take you out of things. Kathryne mentioned working with the ownership groups. I've sat next to some of them when they were joking around about texting her at 4 in the morning, lining up tickets for that night's game because they were up and they were thinking about it. And so Kathryne gets a text at 4 a.m. and she has to take care of that for them. So every day is a new day, and that can be very stressful at times, but like Kathryne said, it's also very enjoyable. For me personally, I knew early on when I was in school that a career path that led to me sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, staring at a spreadsheet or Word document or just checking emails, that wasn't going to be for me. I needed a dynamic work environment, and we both definitely have that. Another thing that we both love about our jobs is the office environment and culture. Generally, working in sports, you do have a little bit of a younger office crowd. We do, especially our sales score, the average age over there is maybe 25. But regardless of the age too, it's a very high energy industry. People are very passionate about what they're doing, and that's very evident from early on when you get into that environment. Game days are crazy. It's a lot of long hours. We'll get to the ballpark at 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. and we won't leave till 11 p.m. or midnight, sometimes even later. We do Girl Scout, Boy Scout sleepovers during the season, so we don't leave the ballpark. At one point last season, I worked 38 straight hours. Didn't go home, didn't sleep. It was crazy. But again, though, that's the requirements of the job, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. The sleepover that night was an absolutely incredible experience. It was a lot of fun to be a part of. Again, very high energy. Luckily, the game the next day ended up being rained out, so I got to go home and catch up on some sleep. But I think that was more somebody looking out for me than anything else.
How far do you live from the ballpark?
12 minutes.
Okay, so that middle of the night alarm wasn't that bad?
No,
okay.
And I would never live further away than 15 minutes, probably just because of that situation. It's something that if something does happen, I need to be there, so I need to be somewhat close by.
Unlike me, I live a little bit further away from the ballpark currently. For a long time. As far as, I'm going to touch on the office environment and culture a little bit more. Like we've alluded to a lot, and one thing that we always enjoy talking about with you guys, and you're probably starting to see it a little bit within your internships, is the amount of hours that you spend at the ballpark. Even for us, again, we do a lot of work even whenever we're not at the ballpark. I'm currently, I have a 1-month-old at home, and so I am working remotely. So I'm on maternity leave, but I am logging into my computer every day, taking care of everything that needs to be taken care of. And
Pay attention to this part here about the hours that they're working.
So like you mentioned, he had worked 38 straight hours one day. That's not, normally we do get to go home. So that's not 100% common, but the fact that we will work until 11 o'clock at night with a game, and then we'll be back at work at 9 o'clock the next morning, if not earlier. If we have one of our corporate partners coming in to do a day meeting, then we could be back up there at 6 or 7, depending on whatever time they want to start their day meeting. So like we have a two-day meeting going on right now with Dr. Pepper, and they have unlimited meetings, so they're there from 8 to 5. So we have to be there a little bit before then to make sure that everything's set up. And then you think about 70 home games. We could have, let's see, our longest homestand this year was a 10-game homestand. And so we went 10 straight days, and we were going 9 a.m., if not earlier, to 11, 12 o'clock at night, going home just so you can sleep in your bed for a little bit and then jump up and do it all over again. And so we finished our 10-game homestand, and then we went into 3 straight days of Heroes Celebrity with Dirk Nowinski. And so they come in and they take over the ballpark. So now we've gone 13 straight days. And then after that, we went ahead and we're hosting the 2017 All-Star Game. So we went to Springfield this year for the All-Star Game to kind of see how everything went. So on top of that, then the next day we drove to Springfield in a car for 10 hours, what felt like eternity. And we drove up there, we spent 3 days in Springfield, drove back, and then we started a 4-game homestand after that. So it all trickles together, and again, you have to love the people that you work with because we spend so much time with them. I see they become your family, honestly, and so whenever we talk about environment and culture, like that's something to definitely look for if you're going to be in the sports industry, is that you want to go to work and not want to hurt anyone while you're there. And so you real like personalities, again, the culture, it can't be stated enough that stuff is important as well. Don't really look at the money side of anything because it's not really there in the sports industry, as I'm sure some of you are seeing in your internships, or maybe you hear. You're not in the sports industry for the money. You are there because you truly enjoy what you're doing, and the rewards will come. And Scott will probably touch on some of that here in a little bit. He has some really good rewarding moments that make for fun stories to share with you guys. So we always like to do that as well.
In terms of hours, right now is actually our slow time. November, at least for me personally, I guess, November and December is my time where I can kind of unwind a little bit, put my feet up, and calm down and relax a little bit, but I'm still working 40 plus hours a week. It's 8 to 5 every day. If we have an event that night, I'll stay. And like I said, I'm somewhat on call too, so it never really ends. But from once we get back from our small Christmas break in January, we're gearing up from a facility standpoint to get ready for the baseball season. And so we're working 50 to 60 plus hours in those weeks. Opening days, generally the first or second Thursday of April, and from that point until Labor Day weekend, it's baseball season. So like Kathryne and I mentioned earlier, you have those 85, 90, 95-hour weeks, especially during a homestand when the team's in town. Once baseball season ends in Labor Day, a lot of the front office can relax a little bit. Those of us that are involved with events don't get that luxury. We spend September, October, and the early part of November running events almost daily in the ballpark, especially on the weekends when we do a lot of our corporate sponsor contracted out events. We'll have corporate outings come out, play kickball games, do softball tournaments, host meetings, the holiday dinners, corporate dinners, and the like. Anything that we can keep going in the ballpark, we'll do it. And so it's a tremendous grind, but we'll touch on it in a second, but it's also tremendously rewarding as well.
Sorry for causing transition.
You're good.
So what makes us different? Well, like we've already mentioned, we opened in 2003. We have the Choctaw Lazy River, which is the only lazy river in professional sports. We have lots of hospitality areas. We have 2 playgrounds, so we are very family-friendly atmosphere, and we are in one of the best markets, if not the best, for AA baseball. We're extremely close to the Texas Rangers, but we were kind of talking earlier before we got up here. There could be some really bad markets for AA baseball, and we're fortunate that since we've been in Frisco, we've led AA in attendance. We actually typically rank in the top 10 for all of minor league baseball. And so it's just really, it's fun. Every night that we have a game, we get to put on, a different show. Our game entertainment director does a really good job with variety and keeping people entertained, and so much so that, like Scott mentioned, whenever our teams are terrible, nobody really ever knows, because they left having a great time, and they're leaving, and thank you for having us, and of course our staff is out there at the gates, thanks for coming, and people just continue to come back because it's a lot of fun, and you get that interaction for an affordable price. And that's something else that makes it really good for us, too. You know, we stay extremely busy. I know, whenever you came out to a game, you would let us know, and we were hoping to stop by, but of course your son didn't make it extremely long time.
He made it to the first part of the doubleheader.
Yeah.
So it was the first half of the first game of the doubleheader, but 3.5, that was actually not bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you know, for us to be able to run by, we do, you know, love to check in with our corporate partners and season ticket holders and things like that. And whenever you guys come out, we always want to be able to say hello if we know that you're coming. But sometimes we have different things that come up, and it just keeps us from going. So as far as watching the game, we also want to touch on that because you don't typically get to watch the sporting event whenever you're working for a team. So just keep in mind, one of my mentors told me early on, if you know the score of the game, you're not doing your job. And so just keep that in mind. If this is something, you know, a career that you want to pursue is that you're not going to get to watch a whole lot of baseball. Instead, you're going to be working a lot behind the scenes.
You see there, one of the really cool parts about the market that we have and the affiliation with the Rangers that we have is we do have a tremendous opportunity to market the baseball aspect side of things too when we choose to. You see here Derek Howland in the upper left, Josh Hamilton down here, Ian Kinsler on the top right. I think that's Jurickson Profar. Is it Elvis?
Yeah.
Elvis Andrews on the bottom left there. Our pictures are getting a little fuzzy on us. But more or less, you know, if the Rangers have a top prospect coming up, he's going through Frisco at some point. If the Rangers have a star player that's spent some time on the disabled list or is dealing with a little bit of injury trouble, he's coming through Frisco at some point to do his rehab appearances. This past season, we had Josh Hamilton for a couple of games. And while his on-field success has tapered off the last few years, of course, he's still a really big name that fans come out and see. A couple of near sellouts when he was with us. We had Yu Darvish before he came back from Tommy John in April and May. He made a couple of starts with us, and those were over capacity crowds. They were absolutely crazy days. But the relationship we have with the Rangers lends itself to bringing that baseball fan into the ballpark. It's a tremendous marketing tool for us, and really an awesome opportunity to capitalize. A lot of minor league teams don't have that. Where I grew up in Michigan, I had a minor league baseball team in my backyard, but a handful of those leagues with teams in the middle of Iowa, they don't have a tie-in to a major league team that's close by, so they're not being able to pull from that. You don't have an Oakland A's fan that went to I'm trying to think of their low A, whatever, Midland, their double A team, we'll pull on that. Midland doesn't have that tie-in in their market. They're not pulling Oakland A's fans to root for those players. It's just a phenomenal opportunity to have such a strong relationship with the parent club. It allows us to do a handful of things out in the community as well. So, really cool thing to see.
And like we've mentioned already in our events, we've listed a couple here that we get to do. Again, this is just whenever, if we are not using our ballpark, and like Scott mentioned already, that it's a revenue drain. And so any time that we can get different activities into the ballpark to help us with the revenue, that's something else that you'll see is important because we have to keep the lights on and we have to keep employees paid, bills paid, different things like that. Well, an easy way to do that is to host and utilize your facility on non-game days.
Next one. Okay.
So here we have kind of different departments that we have at the Rough Riders. It's not everything all encompassing in the sports industry, but we like to just list them up here so that you can see what all is out there. You know, early on, you guys are huge advantage here that you have this at the high school level. We talk all the time about that we wish we had this in high school, but we had to wait till college to be able to get the experience that you're getting here. So take that as a blessing, and whenever you're looking for internships, you're gonna be a step ahead because you already have some experience that most collegiate students won't have yet. So kind of sponsorship, that's more so what I do. There is the selling of the sponsorship side, which our president does, and then the way that we do it with the RoughRiders is our partner services team actually, again, fulfills those ticket sales, which a lot of people know, or it has been known as a way to get your foot in the door, because there are a lot of ticket sales jobs. One thing that we will caution you on that is don't use it as a way to get your foot in the door. If you're not interested in selling tickets, don't go try and sell tickets. Because some of our sales staff has used it as a foot in the door and they're still there. And you're on the phone all day, every day, making about 100 cold calls. And of course he's shaking his head back there.
Soccer guys, that sound familiar?
It's so bad.
Soccer guys are doing that.
If it's not something that you enjoy doing, then you're going to be miserable going to work every day. And that's just us being, we'll be real and we'll be honest with you that neither one of us wanted to do it. So we're very blessed that we had the opportunities that we did because we did not have to work on our sales floor. And we respect the heck out of them. And some of them are great at what they do and they love it. And ticket sales is the only place that they want to be. And all organizations need that. It's not for us.
On that note, are you guys hiring summer staff for next year?
Yes, and he's going to touch
Okay,
on that.
gotcha.
So ballpark and baseball operations, it's, again, kind of Scott's area there. He can probably explain how the baseball operations are going to be done.
Yeah, minor league baseball, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, baseball operations is a little bit different from minor league baseball. In terms of player, roster construction and everything like that, that comes from the Rangers. Where we fit in on a minor league level, and this is another one of the hats that I wear in my job, is being a liaison between the Rangers and our team. Basically facilitating the roster moves that the Rangers are requesting. We work with the team, we take all their gear, get that situated, we coordinate player travel, we work with team hotels, transportation. At the very bottom level, we make airport runs, we pick guys up, we drop them off, we get them where they need to go. Each year I coordinate with the local apartments and get 25 apartments situated for each of the guys so that they have a place to live when they come into town. Give them information if they want to do something else or if their family's out there. And then also just work with our clubhouse staff, our coaching staff, make sure all their needs are met. If baseball operations is the route you want to go, if you want to be a John Daniels general manager of a baseball team, minor league baseball is not the route for you. We don't do that side of things. It's actually one of my pet peeves when we're going through the internship process every year and we get a resume and a cover letter from a kid that says, I want to be a Major League Baseball general manager. And I think working in minor league baseball is a good way to start that off. It's infuriating because it couldn't be more wrong. If that's the opportunity you want to go for, you need to get into a Major League Baseball team and work as an intern in player operations. You don't need to spend any time in minor league baseball. That said, of course, like I mentioned, we do have a tie-in to the baseball operations, but it's not the expansive role that some people think it is. I'm one of maybe 4 or 5 people on our staff that has any interaction with the team at all, which has its positives. It also has tremendous negatives at times. They can be a needy bunch sometimes, but it is still fun at the same time. It's an aspect of my job that I do enjoy. But if that's the route you're looking for, then you have to understand that there isn't necessarily a tie-in in minor league baseball.
I have a fun side dealing with them. We go to sponsor appearances and they love doing all of that. So we have a great time. As far as the rest of them, we have accounting and finance, and so if numbers and spreadsheets and staring at a computer is something, and dealing with money is something that you enjoy doing, there's a place for you. Our VP of accounting and finance, he also, the day that he was hired, his very first day, he said, congratulations, you're also going to deal with human resources. So he is our HR manager as well. And so Scott just mentioned he wear a lot of different hats. So we still laugh about it to this day, that he had no clue that he